Welcome back to Behind the Bowl. My name is Brian McDonald, Director of E-commerce here at Oma's Pride, and I am joined by Carol Bryant. Carol, how are you? Nice to meet you.
I am great. Nice to meet you too. I'm so excited to be on the show.
Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Of course, this is going to be fun.
It is. It is. So, Carol, fill me in. What do you do? Where are you from? Give me. We're on the lobby of an elevator, and we're going to like the 15th floor. Give me a quick little rundown.
Boom. Okay, stopwatch started. Or what? Started. There we go. So I'm Carol Bryant. I'm in northeastern Pennsylvania, an hour north of the Pocono Mountains. I own the trademark My Heart Beats Dog because that's my life's mantra. There's not much I haven't done in the pet industry. I like to talk with my hands. I've done everything from copywriting to content marketing to blogging, PR, helped grow companies of all different sizes, and I finally settled into my own space. I love to write about anything in the pet space. So I've recently launched Smart Dog Copy. My dog's the
Love it.
logo, and that's piggybacking off of my 15 years actually working in the pet industry. That's just sort of the culmination of it all. Boom.
That's. I tell you what, I think you made the time there. No, that's awesome. So Smart Dog Copy, right? Businesses approach you. Hey, we're looking for a blog writer. We're looking for help with SEO. We're looking for if I'm a business coming to you, what
Yeah.
are your offering services?
Yeah, so we always hear about the billions and billions of dollars that are spent in the pet space. And, it's overwhelming when you hear that number. And I
Yeah,
think a lot of people get intimidated by that too, but everybody deserves a piece of that.
sure.
If if you're a business and you're starting out, you've been around for a while, I'm doing everything from helping them build a landing page, their about page, their email marketing, their nurture sequences, a Facebook ad, social media, content marketing, sometimes blogging. That's really where my roots are and where my heart and passion is. But
Sure.
it's evolved so much. And hello, Google helpful content update that is decimating a lot of people at the
Yeah.
present time. And so that's been tricky as well. And helping people break into new spaces like Pinterest and email marketing. And it's a time to say to Google, we're taking our business back
Yeah.
with their fist just like that
That's
too, because
it.
it's true. I mean, I've seen businesses just completely go under because they're traffic dependent on
On
Google and
Google.
Google alone. Hmm.
It's so true, and that's sort of like why we were just talking before we started recording here, like why I decided to start posting content and doing everything on LinkedIn, right? Where you have to treat business the same way as social, where you can't just rely on Instagram, you can't rely on Facebook. You have to get in terms of amplifying your message or amplifying your product, you have to be on as many different channels as you can. And so that's where that's where I saw LinkedIn as an opportunity where, it was more set in its ways than the other platforms in regards to a lot of people
Hmm.
either A, felt like they had to have a LinkedIn just because of the professional business presence,
Yes.
or they had it and never used it. And
Hmm.
now we're slowly starting to see people start posting more of their thoughts, more of their content, and using it
Hmm.
as a way to connect with folks in the industry, right? No matter what industry you're in. So
Hmm.
that's how I approach content at Oma's, and then same thing with like acquiring new customers. There's a lot of people, that, especially that have been around for so long, that just relied on their organic, SEO keyword traffic from Google. And it's a space that I think, like, a big lesson I learned years ago was like you have to own your main channel, right? Like
Absolutely.
we don't own Google. So there's no reason for me to be upset about Google's changes because I don't own it, right? I
Right.
own email, right?
Absolutely.
I own that channel.
Yes.
And that's something I wanted to kind of talk to you about a little bit is um a lot of times, especially for I notice retail too, because retail doesn't utilize email the way that obviously D2C does, D2C
Hmm.
brands. But
Hmm.
email is my favorite. I always talk about it on my posts and stuff like that because
Yes.
it's a channel that you literally own. Like no one owns your email list but you. It's a way that you can convey a message to your customer, sell to your customer, connect with your customer, they can provide feedback via email, the whole nine yards. And what's the biggest thing that you see when companies approach you in regards to their email? Is it their flows aren't set up, they're not segmenting? Like, what are you seeing are like common occurrences within email in the industry?
They'll often come to me and they'll say, I tried it and it tanked. And
Mm,
then I look at what they tried, and it's understandable because they either don't have a robust list, they're not going out and asking and collecting the emails in a way that people want to get. Why should that's really coveted now, Brian? The email is so, I feel like that's the trophy, like the
Yeah,
holy grail of marketing now is the email, and people don't want to be sold to. I believe the consumer, B2B, B2C, they're so much smarter. I mean, even myself, who has
mm,
time? Everything moves in such a vacuum and it's so busy. Who has time at the end of the day? You really have to say something and make me have your loyalty to get me to open that email.
yeah,
So what I see people doing is overselling, like going right for that hard pitch. And it's like anything. And you might have heard this analogy, but I've spoken about this before. It's like going on a date. Do you want like that? Somebody like, you want to move in tomorrow, on that first date? And you're just like, whoa, creeper, that's probably not gonna it's probably not gonna happen unless you have a Cocker Spaniel and then we'll talk. But 'cause I'm a sucker for Cocker Spaniels. But that's the same way with email marketing. You need to nurture that whole everyone's like nurture sequence. Get to know me, talk to me like a person. I'm a human
yeah,
being. That's what I like about your LinkedIn. And that's why I connected with you. I thought this guy is human and he gets it and he's telling stories and he's engaging and you stood right out.
yeah. I
You
appreciate that.
right out. Yeah, and that's what you have to do. It's a lot of it's common sense and it's been overcomplicated because this guru said to do this and that course told me to do this. And another thing, you don't need to be everywhere on social media. That's an I put my lead magnet on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and TikTok, and I have my VA doing Instagram stories. Why?
Yeah,
What really step back and, yes, put the social and social media, but why are you there? What is it? What are you getting out of that? What's your end goal? And if it's not working, stop it.
yeah,
Really
agreed.
stop it and take it. And a lot of what I do, I feel, is common sense, but we're so bombarded with messaging and
Yeah,
everybody's got an opinion. And my goal with launching Smart Dot Copy, and this is what I hear from a lot of my clients or prospects, they'll say, um, I was told this, and you're giving me just the opposite. Because a lot of what I'm telling you is get rid of all of that. We're going to strip it back down to basics. We're going to plant a garden, and we're
yeah,
going to put some seeds in it, and we're going to start fresh.
yeah.
Um, why overcomplicate things?
No, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. And I think it's like, yeah, a lot of this stuff seems, common sense to us, right? Like it's email. You have to really master email. This is how you set it up. But there's so many things now, and that's why social media is good and bad. It's like you're hearing, and I saw a funny video actually this morning. And it was a guy that was reviewing healthy food options in grocery stores. And he was pulling different clips and you hear like broccoli's bad, and then it cuts to him talking about like a process like a chip and how it's so good for you, and there, you hear so many different things from so many different
Yeah.
people that you really don't know what to believe, right? And that's like where social media is good and bad, is you hear Carol said this, well, Lindsay said this. Is Carol right or is Lindsay right? And that's why,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's a tough one. And that's why I love throwing paint at the wall. We're always testing. We're always trying new stuff, and whatever we see like stick, that's when we're like, all right, this is sticking. Let's run with this, right? And there's a lot of paint being thrown at walls, but you have to see like what really works, and then take all the energy and effort on stuff that didn't work and put it into the one thing that did, right? And that's
I
sort
feel like
of
it's a map. I feel like back in the day, I'm dating myself, but maps. And if you
yeah.
actually go to AAA and get a map, I don't know if you are dating myself, but they
No,
would
no,
give
no. I know.
they
Yeah,
would
I
give
was
you a map and then they would highlight your route, how to get there. And then if you went off, oh, well, look at that tourist attraction, and you didn't get space on time or where you were headed. Well, of course, because you didn't follow the map. And that's how I feel like email marketing and running a business in general is, especially in the pet space. Um, you don't need to listen to everybody. That has been my biggest learning lesson since COVID hit, being indoors a lot and really looking at things. Why don't I listening to 500 different people? Like,
yeah.
pick people who resonate with you.
Hmm.
And like I just said, stop it with the rest. It's always good for new ideas and fresh things, but
Sure.
you don't need to listen to, and the people who right now are selling the big SEO packages and are saying they can get your blog or your website back. No, they can't, because no one's recovered from the helpful content update right now. And I feel bad for folks who are SEO, that's their business and their lifeline,
I
because
know.
it's a hard time on digital media right now. We're in a really hard AI crazy time.
It is wild. And we're, for like the people that are listening that are, coming with the SEO struggle,
Mhm.
we necessarily don't have a ton. I wouldn't say like it's not a lot, but it's not a ton of SEO organic traffic. But what we're seeing is a shift in space in regards to years ago, the number one engine, which it still is, but Google was the number one engine by a mile in regards
Sure.
to here's what I want to buy, here's what I want to find out, here's what I want to learn. People went to Google. Well, now that 95-5 split across other channels is now being cut in half, right? So now it's like, okay, only really 40, 30, 50% of my customers are going on Google. A third are going on YouTube, a third are going on TikTok, a third are going on Instagram, right? So there's the whole old school Google philosophy isn't really true the same today because of all these other channels that your customers are on, right? Like,
Yep.
especially in like, so raw pet food, right? I guess I'll take a step back. Almost Pride, fourth generation, family owned and operated pet food company that
Mhm.
started in the 50s on the family farm, as a poultry farm. So we were in human food first, and we're a local distributor to grocery stores in the New England area. And
Okay.
then in the 1990s, the owner's daughter, who's the second generation owner, Sandy, her dog was very sick, very ill, a lot of ailments, allergies, and she was looking outside of her window. That's why we have like a wolf back here, and
Oh.
saw like wolves feeding from animal carcasses. So
Mhm.
she's like, something's to be said about
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah.
And so she started giving her sick dog at the time turkey necks, chicken necks, coming up with her family recipe of like turkey grind mix. And
Sure.
within 30 days her dog's chasing fly balls, right? It was like an incredible transformation. Then she started saying, all right, something's to be said about this. Started going to local shows. Next thing you know, that's how like Oma's Pride was born. So we were started as human food and then transitioned to pet.
I love that. I get goosebumps
um,
when I hear these stories too,
it's
because,
incredible.
I mean, look at that. She looked out her window. I mean,
And no one was feeding raw food in the 90s, right? Like very, very few people.
yeah.
So like she was really a pioneer, trailblazer, like with the raw dog food movement. And that's where Oma's Pride stood for quite some time, right? Whereas it was family owned and operated, and we're in Connecticut. Really, people around the Connecticut, New England area was our core group of customers. And I came on last year, and hey, we have this awesome story, we have this awesome product. How do we amplify the message? Because that's always the hardest part. Everyone has a great product. Not everyone, but
Yes.
you get the idea, right?
Sure.
Everyone has a great
Sure.
product. Everyone has a new cool technology. But how do I get people to find me? How do I get people to buy from me and all? And right. So then I came in, pulled back the curtains. All right, here, we're setting up this flow. This is the way we're going to start acquiring customers. This is
Yes.
the way we're going to communicate with them, et cetera, et cetera. And that's the product and story and all that piece of it's easy. It's just
Mhm.
the amplifying the message. And that's why I love like conversations with folks like you is that's really the struggle that your average business owner, your average director of e-commerce or market, how,
Yes.
how do we amplify the message? And that's like the core piece of what I enjoy doing, because then I get to have fun on, we had one email list before, right? It was just, and that's like what a lot of people, it's like, I have
Absolutely.
one email
Mhm.
list. All right, well, let's segment it. The West Coast email landing page looks different than the East Coast. If you're a
Yes.
female, it looks different than the male. And if we want to increase subscriptions in this area of the country, they're going to see something totally different, and utilizing that. But then I don't know who it was. I was just talking about this. It was Muhammad Ali or someone. There's where it's like a jab, 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 jab hook, where like we provide like value, 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 and then we'll hit you a little sale or try to get you to buy from us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
It's
that's
that
that's sort
trust
of
factor. That's all about that
100%.
trust factor. People, I think now more than ever, with all of the messaging on social, and it's interesting you say that. I would say, who is your customer avatar, or who's your ideal client? And it's not every dog parent or pet
Mm,
owner, pet guardian, or whatever language you choose. You know who that is. I mean, you're
yeah,
probably, in all honesty, not going to go to someone who's like, kibble to my death,
yeah, yeah,
some people you can't convince, and that's okay.
absolutely.
You're not trying to, and that's what I love about what I do is coming in, seeing what different brands are doing and realizing, but who's your audience? All dog parents,
No,
not
no.
everyone who owns a snake. Oh,
True.
no. And that's good. And it's often a light bulb moment that goes off because I think you and I, and being in this space, and, I've been in it for so long that sometimes I take for granted, well, people just don't know that. You don't know what you don't know until you know it, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's so true. And I think like for everyone out there that's like listening, where it's, hey, like, how do I see an immediate like step of action where I can take to see my business grow? Like reaching out to someone like Carol and having them like literally restructure the framework of your flows and email alone and the way
Yes.
that you capture emails.
Mhm.
That, I mean, right off the rip, within 30, 60 days, you're going to see a lift, and you're going to see the needle move, right? Where that's the part that's really cool, because, like you said, there's different people that want different things. So, when we're trying to test out an acquisition strategy, whether that's for email collections or we want to push a new product, whatever the case may be, it's like, all right, let's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G test this,
Yes.
and see what really works. Because, some folks, like I said, some folks out west are treated completely different than folks that live out east, or people that live in the city are buying in smaller quantities because they're more frequent in retail and they're not looking to, purchase product in bulk. So there's so many different aspects that, you can really look at, where, wow, by just taking these like few simple steps and really having like Carol like reorganize the infrastructure of how I'm sending and collecting emails is massive.
And
Like,
how
I
you
don't think
say,
people understand how
yeah,
big
and
it
how
is.
you say what you say too. I think that's another thing is
Yeah.
brands, small, medium, and large, that even for myself, I've got a tone and brand guide for myself because I might say pet parent, you might say pet guardian, someone might, people get, or do we talk colorful? Are we peppy? Are we realistic? And plus social proof. Whatever you say in your marketing, people are going to look. Even for us, if someone's scoping out our business, they want to feed Oma's Pride, or they want to do a beef product from you, or I mean, I knew the brand prior,
Yep.
um, and it's nice to know that it's growing out because it's a phenomenal brand. That's one I would recommend to raw feeders.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah, absolutely. But I think the thing is, people want social proof these days, whether
Yes.
they're your end client or your customer, your mom or dad who has, a dog at home. They're going to go looking. They're going to look at reviews. They're going to see what people say. It's the first thing I do before I buy tickets to a show or anything. I'm like, how was this one? How was Adele in concert? Well, of course, she's phenomenal, but
Yeah.
um, people want social proof. And so your funnel's one thing, but I think when that mirrors what people are saying about you, that's where the magic is, when
Yes.
you can like tap right
Yes.
into that zone. And that's the hard part. It doesn't come overnight. And I think that's what I always tell people is content marketing, copywriting, building, it's a long-term strategy. It's a marathon, and it's really not a sprint. I don't know of many overnight successes other than
No.
like Grumpy Cat, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, the companies that just have a lot of VC money, just pumping dollars. But it is it is
Absolutely.
it is so true. It's such a process to like take a step back, and like I have a whiteboard in front of me, just laying out how your copy intertwines with your graphics, how that
Yes.
intertwines with your message, how that intertwines with your shipping policies, right? Like everything has to, mold together to like really formulate a brand. Because at the end of the day, people are buying from a brand because whether they connect with the brand, they feel a part of the brand. If you're just creating a product and figuring out how to sell it, without taking a look at your copy or the way that you're, developing the email graphic or the lander, your CTAs on your landing page don't really make sense compared to what I've been reading in emails. Like, I'm not going to click, like, this doesn't seem, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so many things that intertwine with
And
each
people
other.
are going to talk like about the brand too, in groups and that kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
know personally, what's the first thing I do? Like, people will come to me, and on my other side, I have Fidos of Reality, and that's my blog, which kind of started this whole crazy foyer
Okay.
pet industry. And that's health and wellness for Cocker Spaniels and their canine friends. And what made me really get into it was seeing how many dogs, I would go to the vet and see how many dogs were sick, and it was a lot of it. was based around what they were feeding, Brian. It was just
Crazy.
when the food changed, the dog changed.
Yeah.
Uh, and even when a dog is, I remember one of my Cocker Spaniels had an immune system disease, and the internal medicine vet said, we never saw a dog recover so quickly. Like most dogs don't survive this. What are you feeding? And he
Yeah.
wanted to know so that he could in the future tell other clients, patients that came in. So my point is people want social proof, and that's going to be everywhere.
Yes.
And I'm sure for your brand, like that's just, brand management, but you can't manage truth.
No, it's so true. And that was something that we struggled with in the past was collecting that social proof, right? Where it's like just leaving a copy review like only goes so far, right? So that's like, okay, well now we're gonna switch review platforms and make it very easy for a consumer to submit a review. Because that's like the people that love your product, they want to review you, right? They want
Mhm.
to give you free social proof. It's just,
Yes,
are you allowing them access and an opportunity to do so that is not like time consuming for them, right? So after a product's been ordered, 5 days after it's been, ordered, hey, how did you guys like it? What did you think
right.
about it? Send us a picture of your pet eating it. Send us your thoughts. And
Mm.
then from there, then it's like, okay, now we need more. All right, well, now we're going to launch, this was just a couple months ago, we're going to launch an affiliate program. We know all of our consumers are on Instagram and TikTok. Okay, so let's
Mhm.
get on Instagram and TikTok. Let's get our product out there. And then now we have like UGC from the creators, but then on the flip side of it, we have like the stories from the people that are purchasing through them that are like, wow, like, oh, I'm seeing such a big difference in, my dog since switching
And
to
how beautiful
Omis,
is that that you have
right?
user-generated content, especially in, watch this pivot, a time of Google, helpful content.
Yes,
You have this authentic content where people are excited and sharing. And that's the thing, like people will go on socials to talk negatively, or if something, my dog choked on
sure.
a bone, but they'll equally go on to praise something. And how awesome is that that you have this user-generated content that you can share, and it's authentic and it's real, and wow, that's a goosebump moment too. I love
Yeah,
when things come together.
it's crazy. And you get like, from what I've noticed, like we have a copywriter in Texas. She does a fantastic job. Our blogs are awesome, and right, and a couple of them, like we have one for dogs and upset stomachs, right? So it's
Yep.
like, and that's a huge one for us, like a ton of traffic. But at the end of the day, your blogs like that, people are just sort of like looking to find an answer for, right? And then they're just
Yeah.
going to get off your site. So it's not really like,
Hmm.
your targeted audience. It's great for, you will capture some emails from it and et
Hmm.
cetera. But at the end of the day, you're 100,000 organic monthly visitors that you were getting off Google. If you get 2,000 targeted on social through proofing, through affiliates, through whatever
Yes.
the case may be, that's going to super exceed sale wise your 100,000 organic, search. So that's why I tell people like, if you've already pivoted and if you're already on all these other channels, or if you're thinking about it, like not to worry, because if you focus as much energy on this other stuff as you did on your blogs or your Google organic traffic, keyword traffic, it's going to super exceed that tenfold.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And that's exciting for you that you have that. And
Yeah, it's cool. The affiliate stuff is great. Like I was sitting a couple months ago, like just the farmers dogs of the world, all your like really big VC backed companies are, giving away 50% off, 60% off your first order, and there's all the money in their paid ads and everything like that. And it's
Mhm.
like, all right, you could, like, small business owners that are listening, you can just take that same philosophy and really dive into these like called like micro influencers, right? So like the
Yes,
your folks that have 2, 3, 4, 10,000, 20,000 followers that really are,
absolutely.
you're like key. And that's like the niche that we found where, hey, you get 25% off. Someone can use your code. You're going to get a 25% kickback that's paid out every month.
Mhm.
And then, we're not giving you any money if you don't sell, right? So it's a win-win situation for business owners out there that are just looking for a way to grow their business without forking over any money, right? And
It's
that's
amazing. The micro influencer has come into their own. The
yes,
micro
yes.
influencer has really come into their own. And that was a topic. I was slated to speak at the Pet Summit at Global, and COVID finally got me after all this time. Right over the weekend before we were traveling, COVID got me. So that was going to be part of what I was talking about was the pivot, the art of the pivot. And I always think of Ross on Friends with that famous episode. I don't know if you watch Friends,
Oh,
but
huge.
pivoting
My
the
wife and I watch it
couch,
all the time.
pivoting
Yes.
the couch, pivot.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's the way I feel it is right now. And it's
Yeah.
beautiful to see somebody who you have folks who have a million followers, but they don't have a big engagement. And so
Yes.
the micro influencer that makes me, I feel that way about myself too, because there's big agencies that do what I do, but I feel like I just have this hand holding that I do with my copy and I really get to know
100%.
it. And I'd
100%.
like to form like what you're doing with your podcast. It's all about relationship building
Yeah.
and talking to people. And I love this face to face because, frankly, the pet space doesn't get enough of it other than at some of the bigger trade shows. But the best conversations I have are the ones on the show floor or in the media room, or, you could
Yes.
probably attest to that.
Yes. Oh, 100%. 100%. The industry standard years ago, and it's slowly evolving, right? A lot of people were stuck in their ways. A lot of people, the pet space is always the last space to innovate, right? Always with technology or with social media or whatever the case may be. And, there's definitely starting to be a shift in regards to, people being more open to new ideas and open to talking to people more and building new product and relationships and experimenting more, right? Where the micro influencer space you can have now. We have an affiliate. I think she just hit 10,000, but she started with us when she had like 6,000. And she's
Nice.
super, super, super into it, right? Loved our product and conveys it in a way where it's like warm and inviting. She has like a really cool like feel on her page, but she posts on her story, asks questions, and builds like a little community where we've went the route last year where it's like, hey, this person has like 400,000 followers. Let's give them, what do you charge? 10 grand? No problem. We'll give you 10 grand, do a video, whatever the case may be. And it's like, there's like no return really on that, right? And it's these, the people that like really love your product and they want to like share it with their friends give you more of a return than someone who's just taking your money to make a video.
Absolutely. I can't remember his name, but I went to a conference years ago and the gentleman spoke about zombie loyalists, and I never forgot that. I just forgot his name, but these are your zombie loyalists. They're gonna follow you into Armageddon, and like
Yes.
they're gonna take their dog with them and they're feeding Omas, and
Yeah.
they want to talk about it because when something goes right for your dog, you want to tell everybody. Like
Yes.
we're all, crazy pet parents here, and you want to tell everybody. That's one of the biggest questions I get at the end of the week. It's what are you feeding your dog?
Yeah, it's true. It's so
It's a
true.
big one.
And
It's a big one.
and I love that. I just love that space too. Like seeing that person on who I was referring to, like she sent us a message like you guys have like literally changed my life. Like she's making thousands of dollars, right? Every time we pay her out. And she literally just loved our product and is sharing it and now is seeing the benefits of it. And now, she lives out in the Pacific Northwest, but like she's at the point now where it's like, hey, we need you to come to Connecticut really quick to help us with this. She'd be like, all right, no problem. I'll figure it out. I'll be there.
That's
Right. So like
amazing.
she'll literally like go to bat for us.
That's
And it's so cool to see that transformation, not just with your affiliates, but for your customers where, and I talk about it all the time, like treating your customers like you do your family, because if you're building that like family friend relationship with your customers, to a degree, they're going to literally do like anything for you,
absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
know?
I love that. I love that when people think of, pet copywriter or Cocker Spaniels, my name comes up. I like to tell people just to Google my name and put dogs after it. There's my social proof goes like 10 pages deep on
I love it.
and that was just someone told me that they Googled me. That's how the New York Times found me for an article. Like they're like,
That's
we're
awesome.
Googling people who have had their dog in a wedding and you came up. And so like I knew I was doing something right. Like if that's what's on my epitaph, I win. My
Yeah,
dog was at my wedding and the New York Times found me. So
that's awesome.
period.
So I don't know yet how I'm going to transfer over Zoom to another platform in the future, but
Okay.
we have just to give you a heads up, we have 6 minutes left
All
because
right.
I have it set.
Yep.
And I had just like two questions I think that
All right.
that I really wanted to ask you where
Yep.
if I'm if I'm a business owner, if I own a blog, whatever the case may be, and I think I've tried everything, like everything, and I'm really getting frustrated. I want to like either quit or give up. I come across, Smart Dog Copy, or I come across Carol. Why should I reach out? Not why, but give me some motivation in order to reach out to you when I'm ready to just crawl in a hole.
Yeah, because I've been there. I've actually been there, and I faced that myself. And you think that I can't compete against the big guys, or I am one of the big guys, and everybody's just swallowing each other up right now. And I believe in getting back to basics. I don't
Yeah.
believe in bells and whistles, and that you have to be everywhere. I've been in this industry. I also think that's something else. It's a pet industry. It doesn't mean that because you love dogs or cats or snakes or turtles or ferrets or, marmots or whatever, it doesn't mean you're a pro. It takes a special person because it is an industry, but at the bottom line, it's based in love and compassion and care for our pets. And so many people lose sight of that. And then I'll look at their websites, I'll look at their socials, I'll look at what they're saying and how they're saying it, and they're over pitchy, they're overselling. Their website doesn't even talk about or they're trying to sell through their blog posts. When's the last time you updated your about page? What are you doing on YouTube? Like what best serves you? And then I realized they're ready to throw in the towel, but they never even got started. And I've talked more businesses off the roof than I can tell you and I'm one of my own. I was just like, I can't deal with this. There's too many agencies out there and they're going to kill me and stuff. But you know what? I persisted and I stayed in my lane, and I'm honest. I'm
Yeah.
very, very honest, and talk to people who I've worked with. And I think that's the proof. So if you come to me, I build relationships. I get to know you. I care about you. I nurture you as much as I'm there. I probably care. I'm the girl who cares too much.
I
The
love that.
copywriter who cares too much. It keeps me awake at night. It's a thing that I get up in the morning. I'm excited to come into my work. I'm
Yeah.
excited to walk the 5 feet from the bedroom to my home office. And but
And
that's the thing,
that
like,
makes a difference.
it does. And so I think I care. I really care, and I'm not trying to sell you on something you don't need. You
Yeah.
might come to me and think you need a home page, and when you need a landing page instead, or you might think you need this big massive sequence, and you just need to garner an email list. I'm not going to sell you something you don't need.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. That's awesome. And I think that makes a huge difference. Like going back to saying that you love what you do. There's a lot of times, even my buddies or people that I've met will, call me. They're in the, e-com space, or they're in the D2C space, just not in the pet industry. And I know that, for a fact that they're not in a place that they love. Like they love being in their position, but not in the industry that they work for. And I think that's also a big thing that I give advice on, is like, if you don't love what you do, you're nothing's ever going to work, right? You really truly, have to love what you do. You could love the shit out of dogs,
Yeah.
right? But if you don't love being a retail dog store owner, or a
Yeah.
online leash company, right? Like you're never going to truly, see the fruits of your labor, because you don't love it, right? And I talk about that all the time. You really truly have to be fulfilled in what you do every day
That
to
was my pivot. I was in medical writing. I was a medical writer, and
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
losing my first Cocker Spaniel, I was like, not doing that anymore. It was actually her passing that propelled me to really get involved in this space. And
That's
I
awesome.
started I started as a journalist, and and here I am, the copywriter who cares too much. I might have a tagline. The
Yeah,
copyright.
that I would write that one down. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good.
yeah.
Isn't that crazy where you start like off in your journey?
I
Like
love that.
I went to school to be a gym teacher, right? Like,
Did you really? Oh my
yeah,
God.
like a physical education. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be that guy that's in the same school system for 40 years, coaching high school football. Like I thought that's what I wanted to do. Yeah,
Wow.
blew through 200 grand in college and did not want to do that at all, right? And
Mm, I love
just
that.
I just kept doing different. Then I loved photography, so I became a wedding photographer. And then that
Wow.
transformed into I shot someone's wedding that was in the D2C space, in like the outdoor goods community or
Yeah.
sector.
Hmm.
So that's when I started doing all my marketing and sales stuff for that, and that transitioned into like, well, I love this. I love the e-commerce aspect and marketing aspect of it, but I'm just in the wrong industry. And then it's like, wow, I'm so much better now than I was a year ago. Not because I've grown a skill set. I still have the same skill set. It's just now that I love what I do so much, I'm able to take people's advice or feedback. I'm able to, like,
Yeah.
if I'm bored at night, hey, let me look up something new
Yeah.
to implement or try because I love what I do. I wouldn't have done that a year ago, right? Like I would
Yeah.
have just went to bed, you know?
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, no, that's a
And I
cool
don't
feature.
have those Sunday scaries anymore. People call them the Sunday scaries. You know, that dread, like when
Yeah, yeah.
coming
I
in
don't have,
6 minutes is on, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to get
yeah.
up. I don't have that anymore.
I
I
love
don't
it.
have that anymore.
Well, Liz, Carol, it's been a pleasure. We definitely have to do this again. I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
meeting you in person one day.
absolutely. Absolutely.
But no, seriously, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thanks, Brian.
Take care. Have a good one.
You too.